The College of Arts and Sciences at Stony Brook University presents The Difference You Make, where we hear weekly from people who make a difference in our world. Here now, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences and Professor of History, our host, David Wrobel.
Hello, my name's David Wrobel, Dean and Professor of History in the College of Arts and Sciences at Stony Brook University. On today's episode of The Difference You Make, The Ideas That Matter, I'm joined by Nancy Toms, Distinguished Professor in the Department of History. Welcome, Nancy. Thanks for being with us.
Great to be here.
Nancy's the author of 4 books, including 1998's The Gospel of Germs, Men, Women, and the Microbe in American Life, and I'm sitting looking at the edition from the People's Republic of China, and also 2016's Remaking the American Patient, How Madison Avenue and Modern Medicine Turned Patients into Consumers, which won the Bancroft Prize in 2017. And I'm thinking back to 2017, and it was an incredible year for the Bancroft Prize. So the Bancroft Prize is given to 2 or 3 books each year. It's a prize from Columbia University, and the other 2 winners that year were Andre Resendez's The Other Slavery, which is an incredible work on indigenous peoples' enslavement, and Heather Ann Thompson's Blood in the Water, The Attica Prison Uprising of 1971. So 3 incredible books with your Remaking the American Patient. Talk to us about the impact of the Bancroft Prize on your ability to sort of get the word out about this book. I mean, Remaking the American Patient has so much to say, not just about the moment in 2017, but the moment right now in 2026 as we try and navigate not just the healthcare system, but the politics surrounding it.
I'd say the Bancroft Prize made more of a difference with historians than it did with healthcare policymakers.
Mm-hmm.
What I encountered writing that book is a certain kind of economics that dominates healthcare policy, and that was the economics I was trying to critique. So in a way, it was not an easy message for healthcare professionals to hear. I would get a lot of pushback, even talking about a patient as a consumer. So one reason it took me 20 years to write that book is the desire to try to make that point in a language that they could understand. And over time, with medical students, I get anthropologists, sociologists, they really resonate because of that rethinking of how patients act in a complicated healthcare system.
Yeah.
And certainly the Bancroft helped get the attention to it.
Do they write? Do they call? How does I don't know that the audience would all fully understand the magnitude of the Bancroft Prize, but for American historians, it's really that's the big one.
It certainly made a difference in my life at Stony Brook.
Yeah.
Enormously. I mean, I certainly people took me quasi seriously before that, but afterwards it was life altering, and especially knowing the other 2 titles that year. Some mornings I wake up and I still don't believe it. I remember getting the email. They sent me an email. I had taught and I was in my office reading my email, and I see this strange message. I'm writing from Columbia University Library, and we have something we need to talk to you about. And they mentioned the word Bancroft, and I'm like, is this what I think it is? But they couldn't call me until the next morning. So I was like running around the department saying, read this email. Do you think this is what? Yeah.
So I grew up with a very different sort of healthcare system where I'd say that the last thing that British people thought of ourselves when it came to healthcare was that we were consumers. I am not claiming that the medical system is better or worse. I would claim that it's more affordable and more comprehensive, and that more people are covered. But I would also say that some of the people with the most means in Britain choose to supplement the National Health Service with private plans.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest complaints is the time it takes to actually see a doctor.
Yes. You look at the Canadian system, probably does a slightly better job of calibrating that, but it's all about how much money you put in to the NHS, of what you get out of it. And part of the battle about talking about healthcare is that there's no such thing as a free market in medicine. There never has been, and there never will be. It's highly regulated, highly controlled.
Yeah.
And it only works if you have a public partner who's willing to provide care and not look at the bottom line. And the tragedy of the United States is that we have taken almost everything and turned it into what's the bottom line. If you can't turn a profit at it, look at the vaccines that don't get developed. Ebola being one of them. Vaccines are not something pharmaceutical companies are wild about developing. They want a lot of money up front from the government to develop a vaccine, and governments will do that. I mean, they did it for COVID with some pressure, but if it's another country, it's not a good system.
Now, the book came out just months after a political administration had begun, and now we're another phase of that political administration. Have you seen terms of government handling of public health issues more broadly? Is part 2 of the Trump administration different from part 1?
So part 1, there was certainly the intent, but he and his team did not get organized enough to really do much damage. Second time around, it's been catastrophic, and you'll find physicians and medical organizations and nursing organizations in public, they will minimize that because they're afraid of retribution. But I can say in private conversations, when they're just among themselves, they see it as catastrophic. It's not only the funding cuts especially to Medicaid, but the attack on science. So somehow I've managed to live to be old enough where both my hats as a historian and then a historian of medicine and science are both under attack. It's certainly been a disorienting experience. It used to be people wouldn't like, say, my interpretation that I was critical of a certain kind of capitalist bent in medicine. But if I could show a kind of scientific or social scientific argument, it would be, okay, we accept that. If you can give us some numbers that show it. Now, you can show people numbers and they're still going to say, I don't care. Yeah. Yes. So it's been rough. It's been rough.
So if we jump back to the previous book, The Gospel of Germs, and the current moment in American political life where there's greater questioning of the value of vaccines. We talk as historians about pendulums swinging back and forth, but pendulums, there's a certain certainty to a pendulum in that it's a device that swings as far as it can in one direction, then as far as it can in another. And that's not what we mean when we talk about pendulums swinging back and forth. We're not talking right now about sort of certainties. I think the fear is with cuts to some kinds of funding that the pendulum can never swing back to the point it was before. So with regard to vaccine development, with regard to trust in the medical profession, where are we? And what needs to happen for us to be better positioned to deal with the healthcare needs of the public?
So we can hope that whoever comes into office in 2028, Republican or Democratic, realizes that the quality of American science in general and medical science, and that It hasn't been perfect, but our basic science and our applied science prowess over the last 75 years, pretty darn impressive. And to undercut that completely is denying one of our 20th century achievements.
Yeah.
Now, from my work, I'd say it's been a mistake to put all our eggs in the vaccine or the drug baskets, that we made a mistake cutting back on public health infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because it's your diet, it's your income, it's your stress level. We know that income inequity is the biggest risk factor for any kind of disease, right? So we should be addressing those issues. There's been a big divide between public health and medicine since before World War II. And now public health has kind of shrunk to this poor relation of mainstream medicine, which is, there is preventive medicine, but it's very much what happens when I go to my doctor's office and get a shingles vaccine or whatever. It's not about my overall infrastructure of health. So that's a big problem. That said, that's not going to be fixed anytime soon. You still need some vaccines because that has been one of the most effective ways to end the kind of life that my parents grew up with, which was people dying from typhoid,
polio,
the fear of
polio?
Absolutely. This was my childhood. Was my parents were terrified of polio, which fortunately no one in my family got. I was taken as a, junior high school student to get the sugar cube vaccine, and it was like, this great celebration, and stopped having to worry about polio. Like tuberculosis, terrible disease that still kills lots of people in other parts of the world. Doesn't kill people in the U.S. It may be making a return. So vaccines are good. We should keep our vaccine capacity. As I said before, that is not where the money is in pharmaceutical development. So that's been another problem in terms of the way our system is set up. And you'll hear people on the street say this: it's better for them if I get sick and have to have expensive treatment than it is for them to keep me well. And that part of what they say is true. That's been a real problem with a lot of us in the public health arena, is seeing there is overlap with the kinds of critiques that you see in Maha, but it's just gone way too far.
Yeah. Part of the tension then is that with vaccines, there can be a sort of over-reliance on this vaccine has made me well. I don't need to worry about this set of things. And we're now, I think maybe we've been there for some time, and the language is a bit different. But where we talk about social prescription, we prescribe activities.
Green prescribing, that's another.
Prescribe activities, sort of prescribe a way of life that might keep the elderly more engaged and promote health that way. So it seems a bit problematic in that what we're trying to do is maintain two things that are both hard and not the most attractive things in terms of the profit-making enterprise.
Not at all. Yeah. And to me, it's a monumental hypocrisy to say we don't need to worry about income inequality in this country, that's not a problem. It's not a problem that people are suffering with in terms of being able to afford basics, at the same time promoting, again, this is very unpopular to say, but some regulation is needed. And part of the problem I think we're facing now is that people don't know what it was like in the bad old days. They don't know what it was like to see kids die of measles. They're now seeing that.
Yeah.
But there's just a lack of appreciation of what exactly the problems are, and then what's necessary to produce a safe product.
Yeah.
So a lot of what's passing for that kind of health prescribing is unregulated, being driven by yet another set of corporate actors who wants to make a lot of money. So if you're a critical consumer, which is kind of where I've ended up in my own head, you have to look at that and say, well, what's their proof that any of this stuff actually works? They don't have it.
Right, right. I should mention that our guest, distinguished professor of history, Nancy Toms, is a recipient of the American Public Health Association's Visaltier Award for her distinguished body of scholarship in the history of public health, and that her work's been supported by the NEH, the National Humanities Center, the National Institute for Mental Health, and the Robert Wood Foundation. So you've managed to do what I think many of us in the history profession aspire to be able to do, which is gain funding, not just from the traditional humanities funding organizations, but also from various foundations that reach out directly to address public issues. So the latest project is a book titled Viral Fears, Historical Perspectives on Pandemic Futures. That's what you're working on. Tell us a little bit about this project and how it's developing.
Well, it's clearly COVID inflected. Yeah. During COVID, there was a lot of talk about misinformation, that a major problem with COVID was misinformation, disinformation, and that somehow this was a brand new problem. And of course, I'm a historian. You know what we do. It's like, well, not so sure that that's so new, especially having lived through AIDS as an adult. Oh, and the other piece of it was, and it's all because of the internet and social media. So this is a new problem with the social media. So I decided to write this little paper where I would say, well, it's been around longer than that. It's not just the internet and social media. That's an important factor, but let's look at the longer history of that. So it was COVID. I couldn't go anywhere. I had been a senior scholar at the University of Utrecht for a couple of summers, and they had a seminar. So they said, why don't you come give us a talk? So I thought, okay, I'll go give this little talk. And in the audience was someone from the WHO, European Union's division. And he wrote me that email letter and said, would you like to write that up? And that started me down.
So that's when you know you gave a good talk, right?
No. Oh, it was so exciting. I never worked with the WHO before. It was quite an experience. It made me realize the difference between the way we write as humanities professors versus social science professors, because their style editor, there were some strains there, because I would use what she thought of as flowery language. And to me, it was just like interesting, right? But anyway, I decided, and I had a wonderful co-author, someone I had met in my time.
David Kessler?
No, David is the one on the Operation Warp Speed.
Okay. He led the COVID-19 vaccine initiative.
Yes. So, well, that kind of then, we'll come back to David Kessler. It's a really strange story about how I ended up working on the Operation Warp Speed. As far as I know, that bunch of people had no idea about the work I'd done for the WHO. And just quickly, my co-author and I compared the 1918-1919 flu, not supposed to call it that, AIDS, and SARS, the first SARS.
Right.
And we looked at the problem of misinformation and how it changed with media. And also attitudes about science. Yeah. Basically, we ended up saying it's much more complicated than just the news technology. It's also respect for science. It's also what the press will cover. That what happens over time is a greater willingness to cover conflict among scientists and to amplify that rather than to shut it down. Because there's a lot of disagreements around that 1918 flu, but it didn't get into the newspaper. So anyway, that kind of got me thinking about misinformation. But then I, on the basis of that, got the year at the National Humanities Center. I went there to write about misinformation. And once I got there, I had a wonderful group of people there. I'm still really close with a lot of them. We have a writing group. 1 hour a day during the week, we sit and work with each other. But they were, I could see their eyes kind of roll, with this misinformation. It was just too, I don't know. With their encouragement, I started thinking more about the management of fear and panic, that is what the information cure is supposed to calm people down and so they don't do crazy stuff. But it doesn't work very well. So it turned into something different, looking at amplification of fear, of anxiety. Sometimes it's fear and anxiety that is warranted if you look at it objectively, and people are told they're being irrational. That was true with polio. There's a lot of pushback that parents, like my parents, were being irrational. They just needed to listen to the scientist. And then as you move into, I got really interested in the virality. It's not just a real virus that mutates. It's also the virus that mutates through the internet and social media. So
while you're working away on that project, you're also wrapping up a collection of oral histories on COVID-19.
I wish we were wrapping it up, but I'd say we're in the midst. So again, it was really the Bancroft Prize that I think someone won. David Kessler needed a U.S. historian of medicine, and someone affiliated with the JAH said, well, why don't you? Why don't you? Let's look at her. And I don't really do vaccines. I do now because I've had to. And David is amazing, a force of nature. I don't know how many books he's written. So he's an author as well as a doctor, a pediatrician, and then just a very passionate person. So he was Biden's science advisor. Yeah. It started before Trump 2.0. And at that point, it seemed like a much more kind of vanilla project where we were going to go interview not the famous people, but the people behind the scenes who are fascinating individuals who not only developed the vaccine, which is the story you hear more about, but rolled it out, got it into drugstores. So we started interviewing that group of people. My first couple of interviews were with people who worked with BARDA, which is the part of the Homeland Security and HHS that does vaccine development and new drug development. So kind of coming to understand what public-private partnerships had to happen before you could get the COVID vaccine. So anyway, we're doing all these interviews, and then there's a whole military piece to it. Fascinating. The coordination between public health and the military. Fascinating story. But we're happy. We're going along doing these oral histories. And then Trump 2.0 came along. My oral history people said we can't do it anymore because they're still in the government. So, and all of a sudden the narrative shifted because what we were seeing as a positive accomplishment of bipartisan Trump and Biden was now becoming partisan again. It's a bad story.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of trying to sort through the people we interview also feel that sense of shock. Like they can't quite believe what has happened in terms of what they see as really good that they did that now is it's been a real learning experience to say the least.
Well, we're wrapping up. I actually have three more things I want to discuss. One of them is the article published last year in the New England Journal of Medicine, A Gilded Age for Patients, the Broken Promises of Profit-Driven Medicine. Love the Gilded Age metaphor. What were the promises and how can we get beyond them having been broken?
I've seen a real shift of more interested in remaking the American patient over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think when it came out, it was sort of buried in Trump 1.0, but it's gotten a little more traction this time around. What really motivated that piece was the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Health.
Yeah.
I was, and I have this weird interest in assassinations. What was going on there? And yet, when I went back, I used that as a chance to go back and think about what had changed in Remaking the American Patient, what had changed in the 10 years since I had written that. Basically ended up saying things had gotten even worse.
Yeah.
And no clear solutions. And I think when you don't have clear solutions, chances that people are going to start protesting in violent and unproductive ways are going to increase.
Yeah. Right now, not just because of the conditions of the present, but I think because of the body of work that you've created at the leading edge of the field of the history of medicine and history of public health, we're at a moment where there's significant student interest in coming into this field. What would you say to the prospective history graduate student thinking, should I devote a life?
Oh, definitely. Should always do what you love. If it calls to you, if you're good at it, you do it, even if the job prospects may seem bleak. When I went to graduate school, the job prospects were really bleak. And I was told, you're not going to get a job. Or they were,
Right.
1 out of 3 of you will get a job.
Yeah.
Just ignored them.
Feel the same way. If you have the passion, then you tend to find your pathway. But more specifically for the going into the history of medicine as a field, the history of public health, plenty of fields that graduate students could go into, but it just does seem like a particular moment, right?
Yes, because only if we understand the past can we navigate into the future. And there's a real, I almost call it a desperation. I mean, that healthcare physicians, nurses, public health people, they know something is really, really wrong and they need help. Somebody other than an economist to explain what the problem is.
And no disrespect to the many fine economists in the Department of Economics and Stony Brook University.
But it's just, they need a more narrative kind of approach and something that doesn't look only at profit, to have a critique of that they can understand.
Let's wrap up with one more project that you're involved with, and that is the 9/11 commemoration work going on at Stony Brook. Tell us why you think that's so important as we approach the 25th.
It's because the memory is, most of my students, I taught that class, were born after 9/11.
Yeah.
But I also realized that it wasn't an accident with my interests that I ended up getting interested in 9/11, because it is a real linchpin for all kinds of public health changes, important changes, new investments. So I kind of backed into it, but I realized, there is a connection with all these things that I do.
So what is the specific program of events that you're working on?
I'm going to be doing a hands-on 30-person class where they're going to be making their own histories of 9/11. So learn how to do oral history, learn how to do podcasting, story maps, whatever floats their boat in terms of learning about people's experiences with 9/11 and also the through lines of 9/11, which I've come to appreciate a lot.
Remember where you were that morning?
Oh, yeah. I was on my way to, I was an associate dean, and I was on my way to work. And I don't look at the news in the morning, but I turned the news radio on. And I did come out, and sort of a lot of, in the dean's office were like, what are we going to do? And then the acting dean said, go home, Nancy. So that's what I did. And tried to pretend it hadn't happened. And my daughter, who was in 3rd grade, will still tell you with great anger, why didn't you come get me sooner? Because all the other parents came and got their kids out. But I'm like, I want her to feel normal. So I'm not going to scare her. So I left her.
But you got to send her.
I did get her. Eventually. Yeah.
Nancy Toms, Distinguished Professor in the History Department at Stony Brook University. Thanks so much for spending time with us on The Difference You Make.
Thank you.
Been a real pleasure having you on and learning more from your work. And for our listeners, thanks for tuning in to the Difference You Make podcast. And you can tune in to hear more ideas that matter. You can find us on Spotify and the College of Arts and Sciences at Stony Brook University YouTube channel.